Your favorite toy truck nerds are back. Welcome to That Scale RC Show.
Welcome back to episode 107 of That Scale RC Show. God damn it. I'm Jeremy with Adam and Travis. And they've made me read this episode in when I didn't want to, so I'm going to purposely ruin it so that I never have to do it again.
Wow.
Nice.
There you go.
So I think that's actually the proper way to come back from a hiatus.
Yeah, when we said changes were coming, this is what we meant.
Yeah.
That's funny.
So how you guys been?
Good. Busy.
Busy.
Yeah, very busy.
I see Jay hasn't been taking any English classes or anything.
English classes.
Well, yeah, you just totally butchered that whole intro.
I don't think my grammar was off or anything. I think I just didn't have the required amount of enthusiasm that you were expecting.
Okay.
Just no flow.
No flow.
No flow. Yeah, no, things have been good. It's September already, so, you know, it's already like a third of the way through the month, and it feels like it's still not caught up to it being September at all.
It feels like it should be end of June or something right now.
Yeah, summer flew by.
Yeah, it's crazy. This entire year, actually, like the last 2 years have been really quick.
Yeah, you ever notice that? Like when you're sitting here at the beginning of the year and you're going, oh my gosh, you know, it's already another, you know, it's another year, and you start doing that whole, you know, BS about, you know, you have this goal and that goal or these, you know, whatever.
Yeah.
And you're just like, then all of a sudden you're halfway through the year and you're like, I've done nothing that I said I was going to do.
Yep.
So, no, I feel you. I'm actually ready for summer to be over. We're getting our typical, whatever you want to call it, I guess, don't flag us for being politically incorrect, Indian summer, where it's always hotter than bejesus at the end of the, you know, end of August, beginning of September, sometimes even into October. But according to our weather apps, it says that we're supposed to be getting a cool down after this. So hopefully we go back to somewhat normal temperatures.
You know what's weird up here is like the hottest part of the day seems to be like early evening usually. Like between 4 and like 5:30 seems to be like the hottest part of the day here.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the funny thing is your like hottest part of the day is like what it cools down to for us in the middle of the night.
Yeah, I couldn't do that. There's just no way.
Yeah, well,
Heat's just miserable.
oh, I've said it forever. I always love when people ask you those questions like, what do you prefer, summer or winter? Winter.
Yeah, every goddamn time, winter.
At least it's a dry heat.
I can bundle up as, you know, and get comfortable. It doesn't matter how hot it is. You can't strip down enough to get comfortable in that.
Yeah, not at all.
Yeah. So yeah, that's where I've always been the opposite. I cannot stand the cold. I'd rather be melting all day.
Ugh.
Cold just
Yeah.
because when it's cold, it seems like I can never get warm enough.
Really?
Yeah, or
Really?
then it's either I'm not warm enough, or like I am then very quickly too warm, and I have to adjust. Like there's no like happy medium.
Oh, I can always find a happy medium.
Yeah, I can't do that. Drives me nuts.
Oh, God.
Yeah. Breaking news.
The guy that I was talking about that's been posting the pictures of the Honcho posted a picture of it on Axial's post about the SCX6 JK.
Uh-oh.
So is it the actual SCX6 like leak again, or
It's more than that. It's a picture of the box.
What?
Like a picture of the box says ready to run, comes in green or red.
Yeah. Didn't you look at the? Did
I
you
saw
look at
the other.
ad?
Well, I saw the bottom two, but I didn't see the top one with the two cars side by side.
It was two cars side by side. Yeah, that was in the ad.
I somehow missed that.
Yeah, the thing that everybody kept. So I guess we'll just start talking about that now.
Yeah, we should recap real fast just in case there is someone who's not aware.
Yeah, so if you've been living under a rock or you don't check your Facebook, middle of last week, I believe, there was maybe it was over the weekend, but anyways, there was a release or a leak, whatever you want to call it, for the new Axial SCX6 Trail Honcho edition, and it was a ad on OfferUp. The guy was down in the Southern California area, and the truck was up for $350. Said new with box, and it had a picture of the front of the box, the side of the box, and then two pictures of the rig outside of the box. And I mean, that spread like wildfire. I mean, people were texting it, you were sharing it on, all the different pages on or Facebook. They're sharing it on Instagram. I mean, it was all over the place. And all of a sudden, the OfferUp ad disappeared, and there's still some people bringing it up and talking about it, but most of the stuff is already, now, unfortunately, old news. There's a couple posts I even saw where people were saying there's no way that's a real, box, because they said nowhere on the box does it say Horizon on it. So they said that has to be a fake, thing, like somebody photoshopped something. And I don't know, there's a lot of speculation of what's going on.
It's got the plastic seal sticker. I mean, that's pretty authentic.
Well, that's what I said. That's pretty authentic, but they did bring up a point. They were like, there's no Horizon logo on it anywhere.
Well, it's most likely it's a early release, and I know some of the stuff that we've gotten from Associated when it's early release comes in a box that's different than what the retail version is. Like when I got the Unicorn, when it showed up, it was in just a plain white box. It had Hoonigan in black on it. And then the bag that usually has the manual and stuff just had a piece of paper in it saying owner's manual, so it's kind of like a mock-up of how it's supposed to be for the retail customer. So yeah, it's probably an early release box that it came in. And that's why it's different, if I had to guess.
I don't remember the original pictures of all this being posted, but were they elaborate enough to where you could see all the different sides of the box?
I'm gonna send it to the group chat right now.
Okay.
Because I almost was gonna ask you guys should I share it on our page / Instagram, but I didn't know how when some people or whatever accounts share the same thing over it's been seen you don't get much traffic. Yeah. I was like, is it really worth it? Because everybody else has seen it, but maybe we'll post it up.
Wild.
That didn't have the picture of the box, but you just sent though.
Oh, well, I just saved those two pictures.
Oh,
I saw one picture of the box where I saw the seal Dad was talking about.
Yeah, it shows the end of the box, and
it shows the
sticker on each side.
Yeah. So the one I saw, there was the end of the box, then there was the front of the box with the actual box art of what the car is.
Yeah, and then there's part numbers there and everything, so I think it's real. And the Honcho's AXI 05001T1, it looks like. It's kind of blurry. So gnarly.
God, that's weird. I wonder what happened. I really want to know.
Well, it's funny. It's the newer generation Tacoma, too, instead of the old Honcho cab. This is actually a Gen 3 photo, like the metric and the base camp.
Oh, yeah, it is, huh?
Yeah. And it's also not the same style cage as the original Honcho.
Yeah, I was going to say that looks different, too.
It's like the Vitera one and the Honcho one got meshed together, because it's got the little metal side pieces that the Vitera one used to have, but the Honcho back part, and it's got a weird stinger on it.
Yep. And then the placement of the spare tire.
Oh, yep.
because
Yeah,
it's
it
more
doesn't sit flat.
vertical.
It's like upright. Yeah, like how the Proline cage was.
But see, the other thing that people brought to attention is like the sand ramps. They're like, are those like, is that an aftermarket thing, or did it really come with those? Or is that like the top of like a battery box or something or receiver box that's hiding something?
Right, because
Well, you can see it in the side profile of the two pictures.
it's actually pretty closed off from like the whole back end of it from the side. Like you actually don't see that much underneath it, so that's kind of cool.
The other thing that's interesting too is if you actually look at it, it's got the Falcon Wild Peaks, which is like interesting because the first the Jeep came out with the Cam 3s, and then it also has those A-pillar lights, which I highly doubt have lights in them, but I'm sure it's like ready for you to put lights into it.
It's got an interior too. I see a steering wheel in there. Seats. Everything should have an interior at this point. I think that just needs to be a mandatory thing in the hobby.
I agree. At least a half interior.
Yeah, I mean something like, and I don't know, somebody needs to like come back with some Lexan ones or something.
Yeah.
It's Proline ditched all the cool stuff.
I'm sure it's got to go based off the sales.
Yeah, I mean, it makes you wonder. Yeah. It's probably just not as much of a breakover as maybe I would have thought. I mean, there are probably a good chunk of people out there who just don't mess with taking it quite to that level. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's probably like the majority of the people in the hobby are like the casual RC enthusiast. It's something they go do with the kids maybe once a month or whatever. They're not super diehard. Not everybody goes down that rabbit hole like all of us do.
Sure.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I was gonna say it's got to be something along like this. Like sales have to drive it. Like there's a reason why they keep messing with the Power Wagon, because that's got to be like their number one selling body.
Yeah. Interesting.
Anywho.
So that'll be sometime in the future. We'll have that in the news. The new SCX6.
However that turns out. Yeah.
You guys are getting a sneak preview of that episode.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, who knows? I mean, I don't know. It's funny because Elio did mention to me when we were hanging out up at Axial Fest that he heard chatter that the next release for the 6 platform will be the Trail Honcho.
I think it's a good move.
Yeah.
I'd say the not so good move was the teaser, and then it was just the SCX10 deadbolt all over again.
Why did they not put that on the base camp chassis? It's only $30 more for a base camp, and you get portals and everything else. Like, why would you even bother with? I don't understand.
My guess is this: they probably found stockpile somewhere of a bunch of old stuff, because I don't know if anybody remembers this, but there was the year of like where it was impossible to get anything Axial related.
Right.
There you couldn't get kits, you couldn't get ready to runs. They had that whole issue with China. So I'm wondering if they like finally got a bunch of stuff and they're like, well, great, what do we do with this now? And they probably just were like, hey, we got this and this, let's put it together. Because I mean, really all they changed was the electronics.
I was theorizing this a little bit too, because Dad and I had a phone call and this came up, and I was like, man, like it must have been another case too where they were just sitting on a ton of them or something.
Yeah. Because I mean, it just doesn't make sense, because like you have too many other. Well, you have the SCX3 platform out, and then you release the base camp, which was supposed to be your entry level, version again. So, I actually, when they first started showing all the pictures, I got a little excited and was like, well, maybe this is the new SCX6 release. Maybe it's a deadbolt, because I mean, why, I said it was either going to be that, or I was like, maybe it'd be on the 10.3 platform. But I said that kind of doesn't make sense because they just came out with the base camp. So I'm like, I don't know. It kind of threw me for a loop. And then when it came out and it was just like, yeah, it's the same, but we just got our Spectrum electronics in it now. You're just kind of like,
but it's only
really?
$30 difference.
I know. I'm just like, really?
The thing that like honestly kind of pisses me off about this is like, I hate this, like, oh, it's, let's let's put lipstick on it kind of thing, and hey, it's a new product. Like, yeah. I honestly, I would have 100% understood if Axial was like, here, like, I mean, I understand they're not going to come out and be like, hey, we're just sitting on a ton of these, but like the price model, everything is geared around, oh, this is some new release. When, like, honestly, I don't see another scenario other than that they were just sitting on a ton of them. So like, I mean, if the only reason they're releasing them at all, right, is because, they need to make their money on the material. Yeah. But like, I mean, if I'm new potential Axial customer, like, what do I go buy? I mean, like, if you want to move them and you want to recover on them, and I don't know, like, just, I don't know. I don't feel like they made it accessible enough for like what the reality is of why that even exists. And I mean, it's kind of like diluted altogether in terms of like what their offerings are now. So it's like, I just don't understand it. It's not like a worthy inclusion at all to me. Cause like, I can't, what's the, like, how do they really sell a lot of them now?
Like, see, the only other thing I can think of is I could see them like maybe re-releasing these only based on the fact that so many people complain about the gear ratio and the way, like, the 10.3, like, just out of the box how it is versus how the 10.2 was. The 10.2 was a crawler. It, you know, formed, whereas the 10.3 is a little geared to just a little too tall, so it's not the greatest performer. So a lot of people complained and or talked about putting a 10.2 or 3-gear transmission in the 10.3 to make it crawl better. So I'm wondering if they're just kind of like, we seem to move more units. When it was the 10.2, maybe we'll release a 10.2 and see if we're moving units again.
Yeah, but I mean, I can understand that too. That makes a lot of sense. The only thing that like still would confuse me though is like, I mean, what the base camp is only what, a couple months old? Like,
not very old at all.
I'm looking
not
at the
very old at all.
Okay, so like the oldest one I can find on here, I think, is the blue one, was added to the A-Main catalog on May 25th. So I have to think, because even if it's something thrown together, like there's still a lot of time and planning and buy off for projects and stuff like that. I have to think that at some point, the idea for what they just did and the base camp coexisted at some point. Like these both were in queue and in process, because like, to your point, that being the case, then like, I mean, they just refuted their own, why buy the base camp thing, right? Because like, it's not as like, again, it's not obvious and it's not like real clear to come in and buy either of these. It's just confusing to me.
You know what I would have done, since they have all the molds and stuff for the straight axles for the SCX10.3, is I would have released the deadbolt on the base camp platform with the straight axles, since you already have molds and stuff for parts for the straight ones, and not even bother with the 10.2.
Well, I think the problem was, though, I think is 10.2s is the item they had.
Yeah, no,
I agree with you entirely. I think, otherwise, I think if they bring the deadbolt back, it's a 10.3 for sure.
Yeah, something steered their decision,
yeah.
Whether it's like you're saying, like just parts surplus or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, it wouldn't surprise me even that they had a ton of just SCX10-2s like on hand.
Yeah.
I mean, in the climate, I 100% could see it because, like, you know, Adam made a great point too of like there was that time period where like you couldn't get anything from them for a long time, and just, you know, the way that the backup is. I mean, you know, it's you know, very common, even, you know, especially outside of RC right now. I mean, look, you're looking at, you know, months to years of lead times on just random stuff.
Right.
So it totally makes sense that it could have been like, you know, hey, maybe they just got them and they've been on order for, you know, since 2019.
Yeah.
You know, I could see that. You know, so I don't know. It's just, I mean, like I said, which I get that, you know, you want to recover the cost, all that, whatever. 10-2 is a killer platform. Nobody argues that. But
yeah,
like, I mean, don't slap the, you know, brand new sticker. And especially, I mean, at the price point, I just don't get it.
So they've also discontinued the Wraith and they discontinued the Bomber. The Bomber was a surprise, especially since those two most recent ones weren't that old.
Which Wraith? Was it the...
All the Wraiths are gone.
All Wraiths are gone. How old was the 1.9 Wraith? When did that come out?
2018.
Oh, okay. Longer than
2019.
I kind of understand the Wraith going away. The Bomber surprised me.
The Bomber really surprises me. You know, because they just did that refit with them with different wheels on it to reflect what the real one has for a wheel sponsor. It's got, I think, Trail Ready's on it now instead of Walker Evans ones. They made a new tire for the Bomber. They had done a, what is it, the KR3? The KR or the KO? Whatever their Baja TA is, they changed it from I think it was a KO2 originally, and they changed it to the 3, which is like smaller and more lugs on the tire. So they had done that, and then they had the Savvy off-road version you could buy, or the regular Bomber one, and both are gone. It's crazy that you can have an episode and the things that Horizon has discontinued is that list is like longer than the new products that came out. While we were away, all these different ones died.
Yeah.
And are gone. All these fan favorites.
There's got to be a new, makes me wonder. I mean, there has to be a new Bomber-esque product that they would come out to replace it with, right?
I don't know.
I mean, that ticks the boxes for a lot of people.
Yeah, no, I think it does. I don't know. If they do, it'll probably have like Rift axles or something. Or it'll be a low C now and be twice the size it originally was. And they'll call it a 1/10. And just to be clear, we're not like bashing on Horizon. It's just they do a lot of weird things. And it's hard to understand why. So, I mean, it you know, to the people listening, it might sound like we're being shit talkers, but that's really not necessarily the case here.
Not necessarily, like you said, shit talking. It's more like just trying to like rationalize or make it make sense.
Yeah, because it doesn't. Like I can't put my thumb on why they do some of the things that they do. I would love to know.
I mean, yeah, like, if stuff's not selling and it's like, and you know, especially too, some products like, you know, in the crawler world for a long time too are like really long in the tooth. So like, you know, I can understand, like, I can totally see how, like, you know, the Wraith was probably something where it's like, yeah, maybe it's just time to kill it. You know, maybe.
Well, like Brad was saying too, the molds wear out.
I mean, yeah, but like, that's also a business case motivated move. If you're still selling them, you know.
Yeah.
You know, if the money makes sense, you know, new mold. But like, but it's, I mean, it is true. Like, I mean, at the same time, it very well could have been just like a not, you know, can't justify it. I mean, so I get that, and, you know, all for discontinuing it if it's just not selling it, and I get it. And there's always going to be people that are bummed out. I mean, you could have like ongoing product support for like 10 years and then, you know, end of life something, then there's going to be that one guy that's going to be like, you know, just emotionally destroyed forever that they killed support on that product, you know. So that's
Yeah.
always a gamble for sure.
The nice part is the aftermarket is huge with parts for AR60 axles. So
Yeah.
that's not like people aren't left out in the cold with that going away at least. So that's kind of nice. But I mean, like the bomb, or not the Bomber, but the Wraith, I mean, that's like a lot of people cut their teeth on that thing. I mean, that was the first rig for many, many people in the hobby, and it's been kind of like a staple and a mainstay forever. And now it's just gone. We don't know why.
Yeah, I mean that car was around. I mean the Bomber too was around for a while, so I could
Yeah.
see it being time.
The Wraith, that's one of the reasons why I won't get rid of the one I have for two reasons. One, I won it at Axial Fest in 2015. And second, you just can't get it anymore. So,
Yeah, hang on to it.
but I mean, the 1.9 though, I had no attachment to for some reason. Like,
God, that was a good car too. Of all the ones for you to like get rid of, that was such a good car.
yeah, but it was just like, I don't know. I just like I said, even now, like I'll do that. I'll sit there and I'll look and I'll be like, man, I haven't touched that car in like 6 years. It's like, do I even like what do I like? Do I still hold on to it, or do I, you know?
Yeah, that's understandable.
So I don't know. It's hard, especially because now with just the way everything's going, it's just like, I don't know. I just try to like make my, I guess you could say, financial decisions a little more smarter. You know, like I'm just like, all right, well, if I got something that's sitting, I could sell that and then use that to fund something new that I want to run. Let's do that. You know, I don't know. That's just the way I do some of this stuff now. So I don't know.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So, but then I got a couple cars, like for sure, I will not ever get rid of just because I love the build so much.
Yeah, there's definitely things I had that I'll never get rid of. I think I'll probably keep my first SCX forever.
Actually, so my first SCX technically my first SCX got transformed into that Claude Chevy that I sold. Technically, if you want to get all technical with it, but one of my very first builds is the tow truck, Rusty Nuts, and I still have it. I think the last thing I did to it was throw those SSD60s underneath it.
I like SSD axles. I like SSD parts in general. Quality's good.
So, what else was I going to say? Yeah, it's kind of like funny. Like, I don't know if I touched base on this on the last time we recorded, because I don't know. Did we record after Axial Fest? Before?
We did one show after. Yeah.
We did one show. I don't know if I touched base on this, but it was kind of funny. Like, after Axial Fest, I was like almost like reverting backwards in the hobby. It's like I started out with, trying to build something that would crawl and like, get over lines and like, or obstacles and hit gnarly lines and this, that, and the other. Then I was like, no, how scale can I get it? And, everything started going super scale, but then you start making it so scale, it doesn't perform worth a crap. And you're just like, you're like going, man, this is frustrating. So it's kind of funny because like when we were at Axial Fest, mainly being that it was a new, venue, I was like, oh, I don't know what can handle what. So I just kind of took something that was like kind of, I don't know, like something that if it rolled over, you weren't going to like freak out because half your scale garage was going with it. So, yeah, I just, so that's why I ran the Capra. Well, then that's what got me started on this whole revamp of the 10.3. And it's like, I'm like, you know what? I'm going to make that thing a little more performance and, kind of go to something that I could just pull out and take anywhere and not have to worry.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's funny. That's like, I don't know, my latest build.
Oh, there's always a place though for stuff like that. I mean, yeah, I get it. Basically how I've always been.
But actually, I mean, I already kind of know this was brought up on our, I guess you could say, questionnaire on Instagram, since I don't know what the hell Facebook did with my post. I know Spencer, aka Sack the Ripper, commented that he was working on my body. I actually sent my Proline body, the K10, out to Spencer.
That's going to be cool to see. Are you just letting him go nuts with it, or did you give him kind of like a rough idea what you were after?
So I gave him, basically my only request was, I said, go with my traditional black and white theme, you know, and the splash of gold, bronze, whatever you want to call it. And that's it. I said, you come up with the way it gets laid out on the truck. You've come out with whatever. That's totally cool with me. And yeah, I literally, the only update I've gotten is, do you mind if I use pearl in the paint? And I said, knock your socks off. That doesn't bother me, because to this day, my one rig that gets the most compliments is the Capra with the flake wrap.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
Everybody loves that thing sparkles. So I was like, yeah, you want to put pearl in it? Go for it. So yeah, so that's all I know. And I sent him the logos. That's it. So I have, like
Killer.
I said, no. And this chair is fucking killing me. Every time you lean one direction,
You can even hear it that side.
Yeah.
dude, it's pissing me. I'm about ready to stand for the rest of this freaking show.
Mean to laugh at your misfortune.
That was a great transition into that, too. Nice work.
Yeah, well, I'm standing for the rest of the show. So.
Well managed.
Yeah, that's like, yeah, because dude, it happened the first time. I'm just like, all right, hopefully it doesn't do it again. And then I lean the one way, and you're just like, are you fucking kidding me? I'm like, can't win.
It'll be okay.
But I guess the other thing we could talk about is, I know I mentioned it before we started recording. I'm kind of bringing some new life back into another rig that's been sitting. I actually tried to sell this rig, but got no hits, so it just sat. And then I was like, you know what? I got parts for it. Maybe I will just do something with it. So I have my Slash 4x4 that's been sitting, I don't even know how long. And the fact that the body that I took off of it still has a CKRC Crawlers, logo plastered all over it, tells you how old or how long it's been since I've messed around with it. I have a Proline, what is it? I don't even know if I have the thing anymore for it. It was the heavy duty or the HD Chevy 2015, I want to say. I don't know. I'd have to take a look again to see what it is, but yeah. And I don't know if anybody follows Dirt King, but they have that black and white Chevy that's pretty badass. I was like, you know what?
Mm-hmm.
I think I'm gonna do something along those lines. It's speaking my colors.
That thing looks really good too.
And then also, maybe I'll be crazy. Maybe I'm crazy, but I'm actually also going to. I took off the factory front bumper and that rear protector thing to make it look a little more scale, and I'm gonna build a. I'm gonna build a actual little like stubby, actual like pre-runner bumper for it. I'll bolt it up to where the factory one goes, and just don't get hit by it.
Nice.
So yeah, so that's my goal. And actually, it was funny because I was messing with the tuning of the shocks over the weekend, because I was like, you know what? I never really messed with the shocks after I, threw them on there. That was something that we kind of were messing around with back when we were playing with back when we were playing around with them. Like, we took cheapo, like, eBay special Yeti shock kits, and we threw them on there. So you put the long ones in the rear, short ones in the front, and the thing had like a ton of like, you'd hit whoops, you just watch the suspension fall out, which was fun and funny to watch because I gave it more, a realistic approach versus just like being a toy. But now I actually played around with it and I kept adjusting them and I changed the weight. Because I think at the time all I had was like the stock like Axial 30 weight or something like that. So I threw some like 45, 50 weight, something like that I had laying around. And I kept adjusting the collars on them. So then what I would do is I'd pick it up off the workbench and I'd drop it till the bottom wouldn't. I picked it up like probably, like I said, about a foot, and I'd drop it and make sure the bottom wouldn't bottom out on the ground, because what used to happen is you used to drop it and the thing would just slam all the way to the ground and it'd make a big thud. So now it's like I adjusted it, which actually gave it a little nicer ride height. So it actually looks like a truck somebody's building like in their backyard to just be like a pre-runner.
Oh, nice.
So yeah, I'm pretty stoked.
That would be cool.
And somebody's ears must be burning. I just got a text from Spencer. The body came out amazing.
Nice.
I wait to see it. That's gonna be cool.
I'm wondering if I should tell him to just send it to me or if I should have him send me a picture.
Oh, I don't know.
Because I have no clue what it looks like. But yeah.
I'd let it be a surprise. I wouldn't ask for a picture of it.
Yeah, I think that's what I'm going to do. I think I'll respond with that right now. I'll just tell him,
You can do a live unboxing.
Good.
I just said, I'll wait till it arrives to see it. No teasers. So
Nice.
we'll see what he says. I wonder what that's going to do to him. That means the suspense has got to be killing him because he has no clue if I like it or not until it shows up. He could be like, man, I did all this work for nothing. But no, it's something else that I wanted to mention because me and Spencer had talked before I even agreed to doing all this. I asked him, like, I was like, being honest, I reached out to him and I was like, dude, you do some killer paint jobs, how much would you charge to do a paint job? And he goes, typically most of my paint jobs end up being about $250 when I'm done, just because of the time and material. And I said, okay, sounds fair. So he's like, really? And I'm like, yeah. I'm like, if you break it down, I said, let's say, okay, I mean, actually, I'll probably have to do this all over again. So that way I don't sound like I'm horrible at math. But like, even if you were to divide, like 200 or 250, either one, but like 200, even if you divided that by like 20, like if you had 20 hours into it, that's only $10 an hour. So even if like, let's say he charges like 50 an hour, like that'd be 4 hours into the body, which I know he has more than that because he's got to lay out, because it's all paint. He's got to lay out the stencils. He's got to lay out all the brakes. He's got to lay out all the stuff. He can't just, it's not like he's got a sticker sheet and he's just, following whatever. He's got to lay it all out, do everything, do all the different colors of paint. It's a lot of work. So what I wanted to basically get at by saying that is like when these people, when these people hit up somebody for a service like this and like they get hit with like what I call sticker shock because they hear the price, like you got to think about everything going into it, and like I said, the time, the material,
it's art.
That's the other thing too, so you got to be prepared going into it. So
yeah, for sure.
I mean, yeah, but anyways, anybody, is looking for a quality painter who does killer work, hit up Sack the Ripper, aka Spencer, and, like I said, I can't say enough good things about the stuff that he's produced. Like ever since the Milwaukee truck came out, that's the one that like really, caught my eye.
Yeah.
So, but he thinks it's his best paint job yet.
Oh
So-
man, the pressure's on.
The pressure's definitely on now.
Nice. That's awesome. Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing that too.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see.
But yep. So I'm also stoked just because, like I said, it's it's one of those bodies. Like I remember when Jay sent me the picture from Proline's website of that K20 or K10, whatever the hell it is, and like I remember when like you look at the pictures and you're just like, really, you came out with that? Like, it like just like was just, I don't know. I think how they have it on their website, the display, the how it portrays on there is just like, it just looks odd. I get it. They tried to go with the old school two-tone paint job and all this, that, and the other. But the other thing they did where I think they dropped the ball was they just slapped it on a rig and didn't really adjust anything. They just almost like put the body on there, took the pictures, threw it up there. Whereas like you do kind of like what I did with it, which actually is the main reason why I ended up with this body, was because Rock Pirates RC posted a picture of that body painted in lime green and black, and they had it with the wheels like stuffed in it, and I was like, that looks badass. Like the way they painted it, the way it sits, the tires filling up the wheel wells, that looks sick. It looks mean. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to do it. I'm going to order the body. So I got the body, and then I was actually impressed. The only thing I wish they would have done was I wish they would have pinched the rear ever so slightly like they did the front. If they would have done that, I think they would have knocked this body out of the park. But it's also, which I guess is another thing if people don't know, that body is released towards, I guess, performance and crawling. That's why the wheel wells are so arched out. And so, I don't know.
Yeah, it's like the J-Con ones or like the cliffhanger.
Yeah.
But that's what I'm saying. If it was more pinched like the cliffhanger, I think they really would have knocked that body out of the park. And I actually sat and stared at it for a while, and I thought about trimming the rear, but I was like, I just can't bring myself to doing it.
Would have been kind of sick to just have a grill and no headlights. Like when you pinch the front end, like ditch the headlights and just have the grill.
Yeah.
That would look pretty cool.
It's got a slight pinch. But
slight pinch.
A slight pinch.
Slight pinch.
So, but that's about all the fun and exciting news I got.
I think everybody's seen all the news I got as far as like building stuff and working on things. Got the first ever friend build done for the most part. I got to do the lights in it still and then put the ESC back in it, but that thing's almost wrapped up, so it's pretty cool. I cannot believe the volume of 3D printed stuff I had to make for that build. Because he's got two bodies. So I have just barely started printing stuff for the second body. Like the first one, he wanted the stock one just kind of, made a little bit more scale and stuff, but not, completely afraid to hurt it or anything if you're out wheeling it. And then he wants like a full dollhouse one. So it's kind of funny that like as detailed as the one is that I just did, like that's not even going to be the full dollhouse one. So I've got like another night runner here with the camper and the tent and grill and all that stuff being printed to put on it. So
right.
It's going to be a good one. Need to go
So the
drive
tent,
these soon, too.
So when you say tent, is it just like the 3D printed like tent, or is it an actual full functioning tent?
So the Night Customs one that you can get is like a rectangular clamshell design, and it pops up, and there's a little support brace that goes inside to hold it open. And then in the files, he has PDFs of the paper patterns to cut out the fabric and stuff. So you can either just leave it shut and don't open it or anything, or if you're handy and can kind of sew, then you can make the tent to go in it and it's actually functional. And then of course, they've got their like rubber, fake tent that comes with the night runner.
Oh, okay.
I hope that maybe Jared's wife can sew or something, and I don't get stuck having to make that second tent. So I'm really not that great at sewing, and the first one didn't turn out very good. The only reason why it looks halfway decent is because it's black and you can't see all the mistakes. But
Right.
I found a better fabric to use if I do get stuck doing it. But like the hardest part is the windows. Like doing the windows, because I had an old windbreaker that I like cut the screen like mesh liner out of and used that for windows on mine, but it's super hard to sew. But like when you're doing these windows, when you're sewing, you have to like take the fabric and fold the edges over and then sew it, like hem it so that it doesn't fray apart. And that's super hard to do on those little windows in there, trying to get the fabric to fold over, not crease, and then sew it. And it's really difficult. So I'm kind of hoping I don't have to do that again. But if I do it and it turns out good, maybe I'll redo mine then, because I know it's like way too thick a fabric and it's a lot to try and bunch up inside the case.
Yeah. I'm not the greatest sewer either, but I think, do I still have anything that's sewed?
If it wasn't for the windows, it'd be cake.
I do. The only thing I have that I still currently own, which is basically going to be sitting on another, I don't know what you want to call it, my wall of shame or wall of whatever, is my black and gold JK. I have the that sunscreen or whatever you want to call it, the bimini top.
Mm-hmm.
That's the only thing I have left. The other thing I have that was sewn was my deadbolt topper, but Scooter Scott was looking for a light bar that fit that because he was doing a build, and I said, hey, I got a light bar sitting on a cage that I'm not using, and I said, and the cage has got like whatever you want to call it, it's like cut, it's not normal, like the back half of it's not normal. So I said, if you want it, it's yours, I'll send it your way. So I just sent him everything. It had the top, everything, and I think he's actually using it. So the soft top you see on that is something I actually sewed.
Remember when Proline had awesome canvas tops for the Axial stuff?
Oh, the ones that actually like, or no, they were Velcro.
But they had like clear plastic windows and stuff. Like they were sick.
Yep.
I still have a 4-door JK one new in the package. Hang on to that forever. Kind of pissed at myself for ever cutting up like any Proline or Axial cages that went on their bodies, because you can't get any of that stuff anymore.
It depends. Let me know what you're looking for and what you need. I have
really? You have some? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Proline had an awesome one for the deadbolt and the G6 body, and I think the Bronco and some others. Like that one was really cool. And then the stock Axial ones were awesome too on the G6 and deadbolt and the JK. I haven't seen, I think they discontinued the 4-door JK and the 2017 JK. I think those are gone now.
I believe so.
I'll look really quick and see what bodies we've got available still from Axial. Oh, there it is. Hate it when they don't have stuff in alphabetical order.
Let's see, because I was going to say, I believe, don't quote me on this, but I believe I have a full Honcho, the OG Honcho bed with the cage.
Oh, rad. I just got done hacking up a Bronco or a Honcho cab for a pre-runner build.
Yeah, I'd have to look. It's not in my maybe it's in my other box in the shed.
So they still have the 2000 Jeep Cherokee. They still make that one.
Which I have one of those unpainted. If there's anybody listening or you guys know anybody who wants one, it's just chilling. And I have no intention on doing anything with it. I also have a factory gray one that's just chilling.
You still have the Blazer. That's cool. Still have the deadbolt. Still got the Honcho. Still have the Honcho with cage. Let's see what else. Still have their exterior parts detail sheet or detail trees. That's cool. Yeah, it appears that older one is now gone. Bummer. Why do I have such a problem with things being discontinued? Like, that does nothing for trying to, like, clean out your workshop and stuff and have space for things.
I don't know. Because that's like your one guilty pleasure.
Maybe. I don't know. I think it's because, like, when we first got into this, it was like that new feeling, and it's like a brand new thing, and we're all excited about it and stuff, and everything's cool. And then it's like certain things were kind of like mainstays during that period when you're like new to the hobby, and then so I guess seeing them go away, it was kind of like a bit of a bummer, because it's like a piece of history that's coming to an end.
Well, it's funny you say that, because I keep going back and forth on whether or not I should, so I have one of each of the monster trucks, the Axial SMTs, and I have a Gravedigger, and I have the Max D. Well, the Max D, I don't have the stock body. I actually gave it to one of the neighbor kids up in Auburn the day I came home with it, because he was like, "Oh,
those are worth a lot."
Yeah, I know. He said the body was super cool. And at that time I was like, I'm never going to use this thing. Take it. And, so I was like, go for it. Well, I have the Gravedigger body. And my other truck, I was turning into a mud truck. And I'm wondering if I should abandon making it a mud truck and put the Gravedigger back on it and just,
shelf piece.
Yeah, the only problem is I'd have to take, which maybe I could always do with the other one. Maybe I just swap wheels and tires, because the stock wheels and tires that when I took them off of that, I gave them to somebody else who needed them when they were building a monster truck. So I only have one set of monster truck tires and wheels.
You know why we're talking about monster trucks? Because I've been driving one quite a bit lately.
Yep.
I have not broken anything on that. Can you believe that?
You must drive like a sissy.
I have like videos of driving and stuff. Like, I mean, I've beat on it pretty hard. I bent a rear axle, which was like, I have extras, but I just straightened it out and put it back on, because there's no point. I mean, it's going to end up breaking eventually. But I mean, I haven't had any kind of braking issues with this at all. And like, I've done some pretty dumb stuff with it, and it's still holding up. But all I could think about, like, the first couple times driving it was it coming down on a wheel wrong, and like busting the wheel off, like what was happening with yours and everything, putting the big 2.6 wheels and tires on it. But man, I've had really, really good luck. And what's kind of cool too is if you are going to build yours into either a mud truck or a monster truck or whatever, like, you can take the receiver box that's in the front and put it underneath, and then that helps open up room for like a cockpit. And then you can take the ESC and put it under the battery tray or underneath the ESC tray that's built in it. And like, it's super, super easy to do like a cockpit with a dash and racing seat and everything in it. Like, I was surprised how much room's in that. So it's actually SMT is kind of a fun rig to scale out.
Yeah, like now that I'm thinking about it, maybe what I'll do is maybe I'll switch back over, and I don't know, whatever you want to call it, the 90s J Concepts Chevy Lexan. I already cut it up and have it on what was my monster truck. Maybe I'll just swap the tires over to that and just leave it as a mud truck. And then I'll take the other one, which was going to be the Parma, whatever the hell they called it, SUV, which is actually a 2-door Tahoe. And maybe I'll just put the Gravedigger back on it and just make that a monster truck.
They're pretty fun, man. Like it's been pretty entertaining driving that thing.
Well, watching you do the nose wheelies and stuff.
It's so hard.
That
Dude,
was the trick.
Like everything happens so fast, and like you just, the time it takes to like hit the brakes and stuff, like you're watching what the truck's doing, then you've got to decide what you're going to do to counter it, and then execute whatever it is that you have decided to do, and like all that has to take place in like half of a second. So it was really fun to practice, but honestly it's probably some of the more difficult driving I've ever tried, and I've developed a pretty healthy respect for the guys that can drive RC monster trucks really well. It's not easy at all, but it's a lot of fun.
No, it looks like a lot of fun. And that's why that's one of those I'm like, that's why I couldn't. Well, I've always been a big Gravedigger fan. So that's why like I couldn't bring myself to getting like rid of that body. I was like, even if I never put that thing back as a monster truck again, I was like, I can't get rid of that body because I'm a huge Gravedigger fan. Like I grew up.
Oh,
I was like,
really? God, I wish I would have known that. I would have given you the body off of mine. I painted it gold.
Oh, it's okay. But I'm just saying, like growing up, like, when you're a kid, you're like, like when you used to watch wrestling, you had your favorite wrestlers. Gravedigger was my favorite monster truck.
Yeah.
It was just like, Gravedigger. And then obviously when his son started doing it, Son of a Digger, those two would like always be the ones I'd watch.
Dude, his son, I think it's Adam Anderson.
Yep.
Is it Adam or Ryan?
There's Adam. I think there's an Adam Anderson and a Ryan Anderson. I think there's both of them, but I think Ryan Anderson was the one who started Son of a Digger.
Dude, he is a wheel. Like that guy can drive. The stuff that he pulls off is so gnarly. That whole, like, monster trucks in general have elevated a lot since back in the day, because it used to be something that I like made fun of with my friends, and we thought they were dumb and goofy, and now it's like those guys are pretty brave individuals with the stuff that they're doing.
Oh yeah,
it's pretty sick. There's actually like some driving talent that's required to do stoppies and moonwalk across a stadium floor in a monster truck on 2 wheels. It just blows me away.
Well, the other thing that's pretty gnarly too is if you actually ever watch the way they, when they jump anything, like that suspension is rough. Even though it looks like it's like kind of landing semi, cush, it's rough. So when those guys are like soaring like 100 feet in the air and then they like land and it's just like you see it bounce and then hop back up, I mean that takes a lot out of you landing like that.
I would think. I mean, like, one of the big things with like Formula One and stuff is the stress that your neck is introduced to, with like cornering speeds and stuff. I would imagine, I mean, even with wearing like Hans devices and stuff like that, like you've got to take a pretty good beating. And I would imagine like your neck could get pretty sore, like,
oh yeah,
all the stuff that they're having to do.
Well, actually, if you actually watched like the OG like monster truck stuff when they used to like climb out, they'd have their suit on, they'd have the helmet, they'd have the donut around their neck, they'd have everything, and like they'd be like stripping it all off to like wave to the crowd. It was hella funny. Like
Yeah.
now it's like I don't even know like what they do. Like, do they have like, is their head like strapped to the thing or something? Because like they don't, like, you don't see them climbing out of like with all this crazy safety gear other than a helmet and a suit.
Okay, so it's Ryan Anderson's the Son of a Digger one. There was a video of him driving a Losi LMT. Dude, he was driving it around like bicycle on 2 wheels, like just driving around somebody's yard like it was nothing. I don't have any of it on video, but I tried doing that, and I would go like 2 feet and then either chicken out, which I don't know why, or crash. But it was like, dude, that stuff is so hard. But really fun though.
So
You know what we didn't talk about that's new is the Losi Fling King or Sling King, and then King Sling, or the Losi mud trucks.
Oh, okay. Since we're talking about mud trucks.
Yeah, those are. I'm surprised I didn't see those on A-Main's
Yeah,
site.
I didn't see them either.
Interesting. Yeah, not even in the coming soon section. I think it's rad though that they are, coming out with stuff like that. I mean, they're all like the CEN F450 and 250 now. Oh, that's another new one. That's right. They have their 250 shorter bed lifted truck that's not a dually. That's another new one.
So if you go on their website, or if you go on A-Mains right now and you type in King Sling, it pops up.
Really?
Yeah, it says available in store $649.
That's a lot of money. Oh yeah, there it is. It must not be under crawlers and stuff then. Pre-order, huh? Oh, it's under monster trucks. That's why it's not under crawlers. That makes sense. That is pretty cool that you can buy those. But here's the thing: like when I built the SMT10, the LMT10 had come out, so it was kind of like, what do you choose between the two? And the reason why I ended up choosing the SMT, even though I knew it was, I had one before and I knew it's not going to be quite as durable as the LMT, but it came down to the chassis, like looking scale versus the LMT with, twin vertical plate design, which just, doesn't look that great.
Yeah, that's what I'm looking at right now. That's the only downfall. Like you look at the body, like not on the King Sling, and it's just 2 flat rail chassis, like you said, vertical plate.
Yeah, like the SMT10 looks so scale, and then the fact that you can actually like make a deep interior for it, like that's pretty cool. So,
and the axles on the King Sling look like toys.
Yeah, those are the LMT10 axles. Looks like they beefed them up a little bit though.
Well, it just looks like
you can get stuff like this. I mean, you talk about like a niche market, like these definitely are, but I think it's cool that they were brave enough to release something like this.
You know what's funny is we talk about all this and we probably say all this, but I guarantee you there's probably like, because, you got to think about it. That's a geographical, sport, like
True.
Mud racing, mud drags, that kind of stuff. That's down south. That's,
with
Midwest.
Rock bouncers and everything. Yeah.
So I wouldn't be surprised if that stuff sells like hotcakes down there, because they're like, well, shit, Jim, I want it to look just like mine.
Right.
Well, if it wasn't $650, I'd buy one. Like they're cool, but I mean, at this point, I'd rather spend like $159 on a closeout SMT10 builder's kit and make one with the J Concepts body. That thing's going to look as good with the body off as it does on. That's my only complaint with these, is that chassis just doesn't look right.
Well, it's funny. It's funny you say that, because I just typed in Axial SMT10. You can still get the Axial ready to run for $289. It's on sale for $289. Just says limited quantities available, but it's available.
For an RTR, that's a good deal, because they actually changed the ESC on it to a Dynamite one, and then they changed the motor, and like that stock brushed motor that comes in the SMT10 is actually really fast for being brushed. So I think it's like a 12 turn or something. It's a 12 turn 550.
Yeah, and then the raw builder's kit is $199.
That's a smoking deal. That's almost worth it just for parts. God, they had them for, what was it, Trav, 110 or something on Amazon, like, or Horizon sale. Like there was a sale where they were so cheap that it was just, you wondered why and how.
Right. Yeah, I don't know.
It was something ridiculous, like $110 or something like that. They had them on sale earlier in the year.
It's funny what they still have. Like they have a J Concepts Axial SMT Bog Hog.
Which is cool. The Bog Hog's what, the orange one?
Yep.
The J-Con body actually looks better than the Horizon one.
Called it a bog hog.
Bog Hog.
But like, but it's exactly like what Jay's saying. Like if you look at that Bog Hog on the SMT, it looks so much better than the Losi Kingsling.
Yeah,
Right.
it doesn't have any of that hexagon stuff in the bed or anything that the other one has. That the J Concepts one has. I don't know. They've got that scale cab that's like attached to the body, but that's it. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think I'd rather make one. I mean, really, those AR-60s with the axle tubes in them, the aluminum tube. No, I did stainless tubes in this one. Between that and then just running the beefed up SMT-10C hubs, like I don't think I'm going to have any durability issues, honestly. I mean, I haven't even snapped a stub axle off, but I don't know. That's probably what I would do is if I was going to build a mud truck, do another SMT-10.
Nice.
One thing I absolutely do recommend, though, if you end up doing this with yours, like actually using it and stuff, is put underdrive gears in both ends. Because all that weight of those tires, it clicks and strips out teeth so bad otherwise. But the underdrive ones are quite a bit tougher. I think I did the Vanquish Incision gears in both ends of it, and it's held up really well.
Okay.
So yeah. Oh, Traxxas. They have their lifted square body Chevy that they came out with. That's another new thing. Yep. There's all kinds of new stuff. We just forgot about it earlier. You think that one of those bodies are in your future?
Maybe. I don't know. Like, I mean, I like it. I just, my only thing is it's like, I don't know. It's like, I would like to see it as a hard body so you can like cut it up and do something with it. It's, they make really scale Lexan, but I don't know. We'll see. Maybe.
Like the wipers look good and can't tell if it's got door handles. Yeah, it looks like it has door handles. Grill's pretty detailed. Yeah, they did a pretty nice job. It's weird that they just decided, you know what, we're not going to release a crawler. We're just going to release a big, giant lifted truck. That is a cool body, though. What's the wheelbase on this thing? 13.23, 336. Wow. That's a big one. You'd have to get a little creative if you're going to build something with that body, it looks like. Yeah, I hate to say it, but man, Traxxas is kind of thrown down when it comes to Lexan bodies. Like, they just look really good. RC 4-wheel drive makes an interior for the new Traxxas Broncos, the newer style. I think it's absurdly expensive, like $133 or something.
Damn.
Yeah, that hurts. So what else? Should we start getting into questions?
Yeah, I mean, I really have one.
Oh, really? Even from last time?
Oh, right. I mean, I think
we have all those from before when we had to cancel.
Oh yeah, okay. There's more. We can jump into that. All right.
Let's do that.
Okay. I'll start off with the old one first. Actually, there's only the one. So here, I'll just start off with the one from Chris Trudeau tonight. So Chris Trudeau says, so there was a picture floating around of a yet unreleased SCX6. We talked about that appeared on the OfferUp page. Understanding the influencers, in quotes, occasionally post products early in an error, but how do you feel about leaks? And given that you have received Element products ahead of release, how paranoid are you being the cause of spy video / pics being made public? Keep up the great work. I am still juggling multiple builds. It never ends. Thanks for fueling the addiction.
Well, I don't know. I think it's pretty shitty that somebody did what they did. And,
I'm confused about how, but also...
Yeah, me too. I mean, it's
very just weird how all that played out. But
yeah, very strange.
As far as being obviously stuff gets leaked and an error and stuff like that. This is kind of weird to say. It feels like kind of a dismissal, but it's not that hard. The thing is to be in that position, you have to have it all in a spot where someone could potentially grab a leak photo or stuff like that. One thing that we've never done is we've never taken unreleased Element stuff to or unreleased anything to I don't know, because whether you have had event days or something in the past or whatever like that, we don't bring unreleased stuff to those. We never did that, that. So it has to be in the public to some degree, and we don't have that issue because
I try and go during the week just so that stuff like that doesn't happen. If I do it, I had gone during the week with the Night Runner when it came out. The Ecto, I had gone during the week. Just because, the places that we go to are pretty popular spots.
It's more than just not posting it. It's just taking steps to just have that not happen.
Make sure it's out of people's eyes. I only had one close call, and that was when Schultz was up here, and Brett and Brenda posted a picture, and the gatekeeper was sitting on the tailgate of my truck, and it wasn't released yet.
Oh,
and
right.
So I oh shit, delete it, texting him, take that picture down now, hurry, so.
Right.
But it wasn't a huge deal. They saw it when Schultz was here, because Schultz and I were both driving them and getting video and pictures and stuff. But they never really said anything.
Yeah.
But it's a quick way to, if you do leak stuff like that, it's a quick way to blackball yourself in the hobby. I remember there was that Off-Road Dave guy. He got a trail walker when it came out, and he sold it before it even hit the market. He sold the one that they sent him to get pictures and stuff with.
Wow.
So yeah, people don't send him stuff anymore.
Yeah, understandable.
Yeah. That was kind of a no-no.
Yeah.
So he listed it for sale and everything, and no one even knew it was a new model.
Yeah, it happens when we've talked about this before, but there are ethical ways to handle it and unethical ways to handle it, and the ones you see are often, not every time, but often the ones that were handled unethically.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's always the risk of dealing with people, unfortunately. That'll always be the case.
Yeah, there's a lot of trust there that you don't want to betray.
Yeah, and, often it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, there used to be, I remember a long time ago, Revis talking about this. There used to be a guy on the Axial release team that was notorious for, and they finally booted him off. He'd get the car, he'd post it all, get all its footage or whatever, and then sell the car.
God, that's so shitty.
It's come on, dude.
Yeah, that sucks.
I just to avoid any kind of conflict, I would never sell anything that they've sent us.
Well, that's the other thing too. For instance, my my deadbolt that they sent me when the 10.2 version originally came out, however many years ago that was. I still have that. That ain't going anywhere. Even though like you could, still, well, now you can get another re-release one, but I mean, why would you? It's like I feel guilty, so it's like it's not going anywhere.
I was actually, what I need to do at some point, I was going to put up kind of like a customer, I don't know, sort of like a warning, like, because somebody tried to sell one of our rigs, the green Night Runner that I built with like the tent and the canopy and stuff. Some guy tried to sell that on Facebook Marketplace. Some scammer was using my pictures. And so, at some point I need to do like a post just saying, hey, we don't really sell our vehicles. And if we did, it would be through our store. So if you, see something for sale, by all means, definitely don't buy it, because it's not something that we're legitimately getting rid of. And we have no plans on selling anything anytime soon. So just to avoid that situation, because I guess it happens quite a bit where they're stealing people's pictures and trying to sell them. Like whoever did that OfferUp thing, I can almost promise that it was just a scam with the SCX6 on OfferUp.
Right.
Probably a scammer of some sort. Did we answer his questions?
Yeah.
Satisfactorily?
Yeah, I think we did. Let's see. So the next one is from, where did all these go? Okay, there they are. Okay. Pull up some of the older ones from when we canceled. Okay, so with all the stuff you guys, also from Chris Joe, with all the stuff you guys keep cranking out, how do you guys find time to sleep?
We don't. I buy cocaine wholesale and just have giant bags of it in the garage.
Cocaine and Monster.
Yeah, mixed together and then drank. I don't know. I'm not married. I don't have a girlfriend. I live in the middle of nowhere. So it's like, even if I wanted to go do something at night, like go to a bar or something, it's like, a couple hour round trip. So it's just not worth it. I don't know. I have no life. I mean, that's basically how I pull all those builds off.
Let's see. Scale Metal Supply said that he wanted an Apex 2 so bad. He said he saw so much rally potential.
Oh, yeah. That rally build's come along pretty good, too. Got the diff put in it last night. Electronics are halfway in it. Ended up going 100, 100, 200 on the diffs. I know that seems weird to have 200 in the rear, but thought maybe it would get a little bit slidey with 200 in the rear diff.
Okay, so, I see what you mean.
Yeah, so it's like 100 front, 100 center, and then 200 in the rear.
Interesting.
Because Ty brought up a good point that the volume of the diff cup too has a lot to do with what weight, which I didn't think of.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I mean, it's going to be one of those like drive it and learn, see how it goes. This is kind of new territory.
Got it.
Because really, if you're building a rally car, it's like you're going to want it to like do decent on pavement, but then be able to take it in the dirt and stuff too. And that's like two radically different setups to try and accomplish both of those things well. It's just, one way is not very conducive to the other type of surface, so it's going to be interesting to see how all that comes together.
For sure. Also on the note of the Apex, Peter H. Nielsen, he says, What tires are you guys running for the Unicorn, and what events could cars like this be used for? I have a long travel Traxxas Vortex set up as a rally car, but it's pretty similar. I like the drift vids you guys you guys did with the truck. Thanks.
I am using Yokomo. They're called DRAs, I believe. It's their asphalt compound tire. Barely anywhere. I drive it mostly on seal coated asphalt, and so it's fairly smooth and nice. And those tires, I mean, they're going to last probably at this rate, probably a couple summers out of one set. So that part's kind of cool. But I don't know. As far as being able to drive it anywhere, it depends on the track, because some tracks are cool with having four-wheel drive drift cars like the Tamiyas and Yokomos and some of the others, and others aren't, and they don't consider them to be drift cars, so they're not allowed. So I don't know. I really couldn't tell you. I just do my own thing away from other people and have way more fun doing it that way.
Fair. Cool. That is
that it?
I think that's it.
Nice.
Not that many left over.
No, it's not bad.
Yeah. Well, what else did we have before we wanted to wrap up?
So wait, you said that was the overflow. What about the today's?
There was only one today. That was the ask about the that was Chris Trudeau asking about the SCX6.
Oh, okay, I thought so, because I was gonna say, I also thought Spencer said something, but I kind of already addressed that.
He said no questions. I ain't currently laying paint on Adam's Chevy body.
So
that's gonna be cool to see. I'm excited.
And he did just say he's got 10 and a half hours into it.
Brutal.
Good God.
Wow.
It's a lot of time.
Yep.
That's why I don't paint.
Yeah, that was a lot of time.
It's a lot of time. Yeah, I don't really have 10 hours to spare on something like that.
Well, the thing that's crazy, like we're, bouncing back and forth, except for now. I mean, that's the other thing too. Mind you, we're on Pacific Standard Time. He's on East Coast. So it's like
right,
almost 1 a.m. Yeah. It's almost 1 a.m. there. And it's like, I'm like, dude, what are you doing up so late working on this? Like, you don't have to sit there till. He's like, dude, it's like you get in the zone and I got to keep going. So
yeah, I get it. 100% get it.
But yeah, no, I'm stoked. So I told him basically I'm going to do like I don't know if I'll do it live, but I'll definitely do like a video unboxing of it. So that way he can see the actual, reaction, raw and uncut.
Yeah, that'll be cool.
So
rad. Can't wait to see it.
Yeah, just doing something different. I mean, like, I don't know. I've never been that one to like have some crazy paint job on any of my rigs. Like, I've just never, I don't know. I've never wanted to attempt to do it, and I've never really wanted to like, farm it out to somebody to do. But now I'm like, you know what? I think it'd be cool. Let's just go with it.
Yeah. No, I think it's cool. Well,
But yeah.
Sorry, I'm just rolling through stuff to make sure I haven't missed anything.
yeah, I don't think there's anything else we need to go over.
That's probably about it.
Well, all right.
Did they just release a black Gladiator? Axial? Just saw a Facebook post with one, and it looks like it's black.
Oh, from a couple days ago? Can't remember something.
Yeah, 3 days ago they posted it.
Oh.
Looking really quick here. So I knew it came in red. Huh. Interesting. Maybe that's a second color that they offer now. I don't know. I'm not seeing it anywhere, but there's definitely like a black one in the pictures. Anyways, not important.
Well, yeah, we can wrap up then if you guys are good.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay.
Yeah, I don't see anything else.
Yeah, I don't see anything either. Okay. Well, yeah, I mean, thank you everybody for tuning in. Yeah, I mean, we'll see you guys next time.
Go support us at sorracing.com.
Support us.
Hey, you butchered the intro, I'll butcher the outro.
All right. That works.
There you go. See you guys.
See ya.